Amber. She's getting her real estate license right now.
Exciting.
Are you both in Houston?
Yes, and you froze again, Jennifer.
Oh, what do I need to do?
I think it's your internet. Do you have a way to directly plug in your laptop or computer?
It is directly plugged in.
Oh,
What do you mean? What do you mean? Am
I
I
thought
frozen?
To your Wi-Fi,
yeah, I thought it was your Wi-Fi.
like plugged into your internet.
So I'm frozen still?
Yes.
Oh,
Try turning off your camera and turn it back on. I think that worked last time.
Yeah.
okay. So y'all need to tell me so that I can do that again. I mean, this is frustrating.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There you go.
Yay!
Just smile a whole bunch. So if you freeze again, it'll be like
I love it.
yes.
All
I
right.
should have like a smiley face thing. So when y'all are talking, in case I freeze.
Okay, everyone. As you guys are logging on, thanks for hopping on this morning. If you have any questions throughout, you can definitely put those in the chat. You see that you have the option to chat to all panelists and attendees. If you will chat to all panelists and attendees, that would be fantastic. And then we will definitely get those questions answered for you before the end of the session. All right, got more people hopping on.
Yay.
Let's see.
Was that made it worse or better?
Oh, it looks fine.
Okay, because I felt like there's because I had my blinds open and I felt like there's a glare.
Mm. Okay. Oh wow, there's 23 people here. I was like, how is she able to tell that there's more people hopping on?
Don't tell me.
Okay. Oh, yay, Charles.
There we go.
Yay!
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
good morning. I was having a little panic attack because my Zoom decided to lock me out and ask me to reboot with a whole new password.
Oh, great.
Welcome to my world.
I know.
Our world.
So real quick, just a quick question. TJ,
We are live.
thanks for joining us. Jessica, thank you for joining us. And Jennifer, thank you for joining us. Jennifer, I have a question. How do you pronounce your last name so I don't butcher it?
Zimkowitz.
Zimkowitz. Okay. All right. Got it.
Thank you.
All right, and Charles, we are live. I am going to, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Let me just make sure that everything is all set up and ready to go. I let everyone know to go ahead and put their questions in the chat if they have any questions, and we'll get to those here near the end of the session. And guys, remember, whenever you're typing in the chat, feel free to ask questions. Go ahead and type in the chat, but do it to all panelists and all attendees so that everyone can see what's going on. Good morning, Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Morning.
How are you?
All right.
Doing great. I'm just gonna sit back and watch you guys do your thing and chime in if you need me to, Charles.
Yeah, and Jess, TJ, you're the on Jess's team, right?
Yes, Jess and I are on a team together.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right, fantastic. I'm turning it over to you guys, and here we go.
We live?
Yeah.
All right. Good morning, Coldwell Banker. How's everybody doing this morning? I am so honored and pleased to have three rock stars with us that are working their way through the CB ranks. Today is about basically our rookies, our folks coming into Coldwell Banker, and some of the things that they've done to get their careers jump started in the Coldwell Banker Network. And I'm excited to see, they started with such enthusiasm, such vigor, and are continuing the momentum to go through and grow their production. So today I wanted to introduce the panel, share with you some of their best practices and some of the things they're doing in their business that have helped them, continue the momentum in this crazy market that we have. So on the panel, I just want to say we've got Jennifer Zimkowitz from the Southlake office. Am I right, Jennifer? Yes?
That's right.
Perfect. And Jessica Storm, and TJ Diaz from the Conroe office. So welcome. So
And it's
real
just
quickly,
Storm, just quickly.
Yeah, it's close.
Storm.
Yeah.
I get
Did I call you
Storm a lot.
Storm?
And she
It's
goes by
Storm.
Jess.
Storm.
Everybody calls her Storm for some reason.
Yeah, because she's storming through real estate, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
absolutely.
Well, welcome. Thank you for taking the time this morning to share your best practices and talk to us about the business and where you are. Real briefly, Jess, you want to start off? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my name's Jess. I have 2 cats, a dog. We got an awesome husband. Pre-COVID, I used to love to explore new cities and countries. It's kind of on hold. But I've been fortunate enough to live in multiple places: Pennsylvania, Colorado, Texas. And that was kind of my inspiration for becoming a real estate agent, because we moved so much that once we got here, I was like, that's what I want to do, because I'm a professional mover at this point. So
And when,
yeah.
and
so
how
that's
long
been
have you
pretty
been, how long have you been in the business in real estate?
just over 2 years.
All right, awesome,
Yeah.
awesome, great. And okay, TJ, what about you? Tell the folks something that we don't know about you.
Oh gosh. I'm blind in one eye.
Oh, okay.
But I'm TJ. I was born and raised in Houston, but lived most of my adult life outside of Houston, actually. And I've been licensed just over, I want to say, or almost about 2.5 years.
Awesome, good. And Jennifer, you were the rookie of the year last year, so excited about that. Amazing accomplishments last year. You want to give us a little background on you?
Thank you. Yeah, I moved from Northwest Indiana, just outside of Chicagoland, in 2011 to Texas. We moved basically state unseen.
Wow.
I am a single mom. I have 3 kids. One still lives back home, Kyle, he's 32. I have a daughter, 29, who just moved to LA and is waiting to test for her license so that she can join Coldwell Banker. And then I have a 15-year-old son, Sam, who is still at home. I previously was a business owner when I was living up north. So for 6 years, I owned a children's and maternity boutique called Butterfly
Wow.
Kisses.
That's awesome. And Jess, I'll go back to you real quick. What did you do before real estate?
Yeah, so before real estate, I actually kind of self-taught myself quite a few things. So because we were moving so much with my husband's job, I did pretty much all my classes online for college. So I graduated pretty much completely online. So I was doing graphic and web design, and I was a social media manager, all self-taught. That way, no matter where we lived, I could still do that. So that was pretty great when we went into real estate, because I was like, woohoo, all those things that I was doing just to kind of scrape by and make some money, they all come in handy. So it's been awesome.
Awesome. How about you, TJ? What did you do before real estate, out of curiosity?
Yeah. So I have 3 kids and I'm married. So before real estate, I was actually a stay-at-home mom. And I like to tell people that I was a super community member because I planned neighborhood events. I volunteered at the school, PTO, like everything related to that. And that's pretty much it. I just love planning things and love being involved in my community. So kind of was a natural direction to head toward real estate after that.
Okay. I'm going to ask all 3 of you the same question because you come from different backgrounds, and I find it fascinating, coming into, some of you have moved into Texas, right? You didn't know anybody, you just kind of jumped in, whereas TJ, you grew up in Houston. very different dynamics of backgrounds. So, Jennifer, starting with you, going from operating a business to jumping into the real estate world, how did you build your real estate business? I mean, coming in, starting off fresh, getting your license. Give us a little idea of what were the triggers to help you get to where you are and to become Rookie of the Year last year. Oh.
Okay. Okay. So, well, basically, I knew I wanted to be in real estate, but I started with a small company doing some admin work in a real estate office. But then I quickly wanted to get licensed and start working with people. So I basically was motivated by the fact that I was told that I really shouldn't leave my salary position because the average agent only makes $35,000 a year. So quite honestly, it was the determination to surpass that $35,000 a year. And it was also just having confidence in myself and, putting together a plan as I did when I owned my business, have a business plan, have, goals, and then invest in myself because I didn't have a sphere of influence, coming here and being new and no family. So I basically just, invested in myself as I did my business, knowing that I couldn't just get licensed and wait for the phone to ring.
Yeah. So great. Thank you for that background, because one of the things I always wonder is when people get into real estate thinking that, the fish are going to jump in the boat, right? And versus you going out there fishing. So we can dive into that a little bit more later. I just wanted to start the brief and Jess, for you, coming into the real estate business again, coming from out of state into the business, tell us a little bit about, what got you here? Like what coming into Texas and really thinking, I want to get into real estate. What was that decision based upon and how did you get to where you are?
Sorry, I've got some visitors.
I see that.
You'll probably see another one here in a second. So I think for me, part of it was that I was so independent because I was my own boss for the last few years and I did all my schooling online. So that really gave me the freedom to kind of do what I want to. And so I just leaned heavily on my strengths and the things that I was good at. So I was good at graphic design. I knew how to stand out. I knew how to brand myself. And I also, kind of leaned on how personable I was. So I'm the person who's going to go and help the people that everybody else is like, no, like that's too difficult. That's too hard. Like that's too much. So just leaning on kind of loving to help people. I was out there kind of helping all of the people that most people in Threads were just like abandoning. So that was kind of how I got my footing because I was working way harder, but all of those people were diehard fans because nobody else was willing to kind of take the time to help them and help them to the level that I was.
Okay, great. And TJ, going from a super community member, like that's a natural actual progression to real estate. But tell us what was the trigger in your life that said, hey, I need to get into this real estate business.
Yeah. So actually being involved with that, I had I was living in Austin at the time. And I had a real estate agent that was a big part of the community where I lived. And she basically told me like that this is exactly what I needed to be doing, that I was a natural and that I would be really successful in real estate. And she basically like kind of kept bugging me about it. Her name's Amanda Ponce in Austin. And she just encouraged me, so I knew that if I was going to get into real estate, I was going to put like everything I had into it, which would be kind of a little bit difficult on my family. So we actually decided to move back to Houston to be back close to family. And I hadn't lived in Houston since I was like a kid, basically. So I had a sphere, but not really like I wasn't as close to anyone, you know what I mean? So it was kind of like starting all over again when we came back. So, but I think that kind of like what Jennifer was saying about, what the average agent makes, it was a huge risk because I had heard the same thing. And so moving my entire family to Houston just so I could pursue real estate, knowing that average agents don't make that much money was like kind of terrifying. But I'm really big into mindset. I really believe in myself, and I'm a very driven person. So I knew that as long as I focused on my mindset and stayed true to that, then I could be successful.
Mindset is one of Alex's favorite topics. I know that. So he's listening. He's tuning in to that.
Oh, yeah.
He teaches a class on mindset.
Oh, nice.
So one of the things I was going to ask is, for folks coming into the market, new realtors that have just joined Coldwell Banker, or even those that are, somewhat starting to think about, hey, how do I increase my business, right? Because one of the things we look at those that are doing 2, 3, 4, 5 transactions a year, you talking about sphere of influence, where most of you came in with no sphere of influence in this market. What are the recommendations that you would give a realtor saying, hey, look, we hear that 80% of the business in real estate comes from sphere of influence, right? As you build. But for those of you that didn't have sphere of influence, you give us a little glimpse of how you started or what you'd recommend for somebody that's coming in going, hey, I need to hit the floor running. And, one, working my sphere, but two, what other angles could they take or begin steps that they begin to take in order to, reach out and build their business. So starting with Jennifer, how about you?
My biggest thing is to invest in yourself, and that's not just money, but it's in, tools, making sure you have the right phone, making sure you have a laptop. If you don't have any kind of computer, you need to have the right tools. You need to, your appearance. Education is huge. Like, I am constantly learning and jumping on as many meetings and, Zoom trainings as I can, just to keep, learning and, gaining more knowledge. But I think one of the hugest things to actually, grow the business is with relationships. So I try and get in touch with, past clients, but also people that are in the industry, lenders, roofers, title people, just making connections and keeping yourself active and being flexible.
Okay, great. And I think that's this, we are in the relationship business, right? I tell people this is a belly to belly business, regardless of the technology and the industries that are being derived or coming into play. We still sell the largest asset people have in their lives, and it's all about the relationship, and the people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And that's the relationships that the focal point of the relationships. Jess, what about you? Talk to me a little bit about, coming into the Houston, not knowing anybody, how do you build a business, with no sphere?
Yeah, so I actually went out and created my own sphere. So I tried to get active in some different Facebook groups. I started helping create a kickball league, which didn't actually pan out, but I still made a lot of contacts from that. And one of the things that I did my first year was, for every single month, I would put together a list of the best things to do in the area. So I kind of split it up for like our different areas, like the Woodlands, Spring, and Conroe. And I'd brand it at the bottom with my information. And then I actually would print out like 500 of them and walk through my neighborhood. It would take me like 4 or 5 hours, but they would call me and text me and tell me thank you. And I got recognized once. They're like, hey, aren't you the lady who does the things to do? And I'm like, yeah, I am. Like, so that's kind of what I did. We would also put them all over social media and people would share them. So that was a good way for us to kind of get our name out when we didn't really have a huge sphere of influence here. So get creative.
That's awesome. I love that idea. Plus, being able to put something together, especially if they're local, you can look at all the events and sphere of influence, building a social media following. I always say it's items of value, right? Does it resonate? Does it differentiate? Does it substantiate, right? Why should I use you? Are you different? And are you going to substantiate the claims or, validate the claims that you told me you're going to do? And in your case, you're delivering something of value, packaging something together that people go, oh, wow, thank you. This is valuable to me. Really, really strikes me as a benefit to the customer. How about you, TJ? What are you doing differently?
So, gosh, I feel like there's so much I could say about this. So first of all, I feel like people kind of they kind of freeze when they just don't feel like they have a lot of people that they're sociable with, I guess. And they just panic when they're a new agent. They're like, well, I don't know anybody. I don't know how to get business. And I think that people know a lot more people than they realize. And so this is like just one of those things when, as you're reading like different real estate books and stuff, one of the things you learn is like, okay, who do you actually know? You know, a landscaper, a hairstylist, I mean, your mail lady, anybody. I mean, you just go through anybody that you have physical contact with on a routinely basis. And that's somebody that you can reach out to for real estate. So I would go through my phone and I would literally go through every contact I had, even if they did not live in my area. And I would say, hey, I'm trying to grow my business. Who do you know that needs to buy or sell a home in the greater Houston area? Well, geez, I don't know anybody. It's usually typically the response that you get. But what happens is if you do that consistently, those people, the second somebody mentions something, they're like, oh yeah, it like automatically puts you in the back of their mind. And that actually has happened, like where I'll text somebody, they're like, oh, I have no idea. And then text me a week or 2 weeks later, like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. Like my, sister just mentioned to me that she's thinking about selling her house soon and they're in Houston. Like, can I give them your number? And that's how it happens. And I think that just getting in the habit of doing that will make a huge difference. And just to add to that, embrace the no. Like that is like the biggest thing with the mindset. Don't be afraid to be told no. The more no's you get, the closer you get to a yes. So just get it like out of your system so that you're not scared to reach out to those people.
Absolutely. Great advice. Great advice. And I'll tell you that, it's, having done this for a little while, it's top of mind awareness, right? What you just referenced there is the frequency. I always say persistence wears down resistance. And at the same time, you think about it from top of mind awareness. So you're doing the reach outs. Every no gets you closer to a yes. But if you're not present, you're not top of mind. And I think that's the key is to get, and that's why, honestly, I mean, one of the things I'm going to put a shameless plug in for our Clients for Life program, right? It's truly designed for that, right? It's designed for the ability for realtors to communicate and be top of mind awareness with their clients with something of value, something meaningful. It's not just a drip campaign. And for those of you that take it to the next level, in my world, I always say, if you want to take Clients for Life to the next level, I say, go to the graduate level of making the phone calls before the email goes out and touching base with the clients. And then, deriving that conversation into, hey, I want you to be a winner. Here's a contest coming out, all the way to at the back end of it is, talking about the market and, anybody wants to buy or sell, and hey, let me send you a market report, right? Now it's two pieces of information that of value to the customer that make you top of mind twice a month. So think of it that way. So thank you. So Jessica, Jennifer, actually, you mentioned tools for a second, and you said, if I remember correctly, invest in yourself, have the right equipment, the right tools, the right education. Well, we've come to the right place, right? Coldwell Banker, where a lot of those tools are there and the education is there. So let's talk about tools. What's your favorite tool that you use within the Coldwell Banker platform, and why?
Oh, I love the InTouch Market Leader.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, it goes hand in hand with my lead generation. So it makes it perfect. I plug them in there, and then I'm able to get an alert every time I get a text message every time someone logs onto the website, and then I can go ahead and check on what they're favoriting, what they're searching, if their criteria has changed. And then it gives me an in to contact them and say, hey, I wanted to make sure that, not that I'm stalking them. I don't want to ever let them know that I'm stalking them. Hey, I saw that you were looking at 2 a.m. in the morning. No, but I will definitely say, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page and that your criteria hasn't changed. Have you opened up your areas? And, just have a conversation without letting them know why I'm having that conversation. I love InTouch.
Yeah. Well, I certainly won't recommend calling them at 2 a.m. when they're browsing, right?
Or sending a text.
How can I help you?
I see you.
Yeah. Well, and it's truly the intelligence that we have, the systems. I think the more informed we are, the more conscious decisions we're able to make and help our clients based on what they're reviewing, and how they're saving their searches and the things they're looking at. Jess, what about you? What's your favorite tool and how do you use it?
Yeah, so I would say mine would be the CBX buyer profile. So I love data and analytics. Like that's just my jam, especially since I have a background in social media. So all the Facebook ads and being able to know like the kind of getting a sneak peek of who your buyer most likely is, then we can target those specific people. And CB has a whole bunch of other tools, which I'm sure TJ will kind of touch on too, because we we rock out when it comes to the listing presentations with all of this. So being able to actually pinpoint and pull people based on their credit scores and everything, so we can actually make sure that we're targeting the best people possible for our sellers. That's huge for us, and I love data. So the more data you can give me, the better. I'm all about it.
So let me dive into that for a second, because I get excited when somebody talks about CBX buyer profile, because not a lot of people, I would say there's a certain number of people that love that, certain number of people that don't want to touch it, certain number of people don't know what it is. So
Yeah.
for those that want to know a little bit more about that, what could you share? Like what intrigued you about CBX? Give us a high level, hey, this is how I use CBX buyer profile in my business.
Yeah, so sorry, my cat is visiting again. I don't know if you can hear her screaming. She's very vocal and she doesn't like when I'm not paying attention to her. So for the CBX buyer profile, we take this on our listing presentations. And one of the really cool things about it is that it will analyze that specific neighborhood and give you demographics. So it'll give you how many kids the people in that neighborhood most likely have, their age, how far they drive to work, what websites they frequent. So if we're like, okay, this month we want to focus on Facebook and Google, then we know that we can put all of our ad money into those if that specific buyer profile is saying that. That kind of gives us a more in-depth targeted version of where those buyers are most likely coming from. And I can tell you that it's pretty accurate, because when we walked into our house, the person who lived in our house had the exact same living room furniture set that we had. And the bedroom set. And so they actually moved 2 doors down. So that just kind of shows you like it's creepily like realistic, because we're exactly the same person who would buy that furniture is the same person who moved into the home. So
Wow.
It's really cool. It takes it to the next level, and it makes you look like a rock star on a listing presentation too, because most people aren't gonna take the time to provide that information, and then B, use it to actually target the buyers and all of your marketing.
Yeah. And you've done something strategic in the sense that you're going after, obviously using Facebook, social media to target those. And I know CBX buyer profile, one of the things that I heard from different agents that use it is it's amazing to see sometimes where the buyers are coming from, because the assumption is in the traditional marketing approach is that we're going to market to that neighborhood, specifically, but in essence, the buyer may be coming from somewhere else. And or the likelihood of the buyer coming from somewhere else. So instead of putting your dollars into just marketing the neighborhood, you could potentially target maybe 20% or 30% of the buyers coming from 10 miles away from a different neighborhood, or perhaps a different market. So absolutely fascinating data to me. And it's like you said, it's very valuable in the sense of being able to capture the next buyer or market the next buyer. So I just passed the baton to TJ on the technology side.
Yes. That was hard for me to wait, because I'm like, we get so excited about this.
Yeah.
Because I think that one of the biggest things with all the tools and stuff that CB has is that agents don't really take advantage of like what they're being offered and then go to implement them. And there's so many tools, and the way that you can layer them to just kind of like blow somebody's socks off, with how exciting it is. Everything we're able to offer is just amazing. Like I remember when I was at my previous brokerage, I was like, oh man, I really want Cole's Realty Resource. And it was just like astronomical. I didn't have access to that and couldn't afford it at the time. And when we went to Coldwell Banker, that's when we got the Cole's Realty Resource, with the listing concierge, all that. And it was just phenomenal. So when Jess and I go to a listing presentation, we go through every single tool basically that Coldwell Banker has, period. And we're able to take, tell them, hey, like not only can we do everything else other agents do, like, put a sign in front of your yard, professional photography, all that, but we take it to the next level because we know exactly where your buyer is going to come from. We have a specific software that allows us to get information about buyers, like their contact information, their address, email addresses, whatever, so that we can send marketing specifically to those people. We're going to put your home on TV, all those different kind of things that just help them be wowed, and then that, like, there's a lot of power in that too, because that gives you the confidence. And that's the biggest thing when you're a newer agent. Like, if you don't know what to do, the very least you can do is present somebody with data. And if you have data and you can show them, hey, I'm going to do all this for you, then that gets you the confidence to win the listing, to be successful, and to go out and market to other people to get more listings.
Absolutely. And I've heard it so many times from new agents that are competing with seasoned agents in the realm that actually beat out some seasoned agents on listing appointments. Is, I think it was interesting to me when you see how the format works, right? So I've talked to several agents that have done really well in the business coming new, and how they beat out the professional seasoned agents that's been a icon in the community, is by one, focusing on the brand itself, right? So we're all the brand itself and what the brand provides, then really working it down to the region and what the region provides, and then really working down to the office and the experience you have in the office. So if you had 100 realtors in the office, you've got over, maybe 100 and something years of experience in the office, and realtors are marketing. And then you go down to they still don't know you're new, but you're behind the tools and the data that you look like the homegrown expert in the field, right, versus just coming in and talking about you. So I love that approach. I think it's very valuable. When it comes to some of the tools, you said Kohl's Directory, and I don't think people realize the breadth or width of the data you can get from Kohl's Directory. But it's, for those of you that aren't on, it's a reverse search, right? You're able to find addresses, home addresses, emails, phone numbers. And I actually had somebody the other day tell me that they wanted to focus on people. This was a car enthusiast, and one of the things they were working on is creating a marketing campaign to people with fast cars. It was a Porsche, guy, and he really wanted to be able to market. And I think I saw in Kohl's that they've added another category with people with certain types of vehicles. What a great way to brand that, right? I mean, one way to push out marketing is to those folks. So for those of you on this training, please go in and dive in, and it's free to use. So please take advantage of using it. Let's jump in really quick about time management, right? So one of the things that you mentioned is, we've got all these tools and how much you love to use them. And one of the things I always say is there's this fear in the industry of, oh my gosh, I don't want to spend hours behind the computer versus set it and forget it. So Jennifer, diving to you first, you talked about InTouch and Market Leader. Talk to me about just, how much time do you spend in the tools versus trying to get you out in the field, and how do you manage your time as a new rookie agent? Being able to, one, lead generate, and two, work your sphere, and three, follow up with past clients. So I know it's a multi-part question, but let's just dive into time management for a second. What would you recommend for somebody that is questioning, hey, how do I spend my time during the day to basically, become a rock star realtor?
One thing that I'm not the very best at time management, so I can actually say that I can learn a few tips. But one thing that I have learned to do is basically time block and just set myself up. I read a really good book that was referred to me by my Tom Ferry coach, and it was, I think it's called Mindful Morning.
Mm-hmm.
Just basically, have you heard of that, Charles?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, that really helped me a lot, because I just struggled with, setting myself up for, an early morning. And honestly, it's done wonders for me just to give myself time in the morning and set myself up actually the night before, but to basically just, get your mind all ready for the day. And so I time block, and I have time where I follow up, get on MLS. I follow up with all of my leads, send them personalized. I know that they're on, a daily search email, but I like to point out things about homes that are specific to what their needs are. So I will do that, set all of that up, and just email them, say, hey, what do you think of this? Check out, da, da, da. And then as far as, the rest of my day goes, I just try and split it up maybe 2 times a week, set up an appointment, a coffee with past clients or with a new lender, or, talking to somebody on the phone, and social media. That's another thing. Just engaging in social media has also connected me with quite a few people in the industry.
So Jennifer, that's great. You almost segue into what I wanted to go to next, which is kind of funny because I don't have a specific format of questions that I'm going to dive into, but you're reading right up into Jess's, where I'm going with Jess is you hit social media, right? So there's a lot of angst, or a lot of things that people do right on social media, and there's a lot of things that people don't do right on social media, but also in the realm of people just don't do social media, right? So people, in the real estate, some people are fearful. If you look at the average age of the realtor, some are really good at social media, even the mature ones, and then some just don't even touch it. So just being that you have a social media background and you get excited about this stuff, can you share with us, what would you recommend as perhaps one of the couple of best practices, and also related to time management, right? Because people always go, I don't want to spend my whole day on social media, because it could be a complete time suck for you. Is what would you recommend folks that aren't using social media to use social media, and what are the 2 or 3 things that you would put in place, or have them put in place?
Yeah, so that's a great question. With social media, it's not about being perfect, which is hard for me because I'm a perfectionist. So I like everything to be perfect, but it's not about being perfect. It's just about showing up. So even if you're on the fly and you take a quick selfie that's like, hey, I'm downtown Houston today, look at this beautiful view, showing homes, people know that A, hey, I didn't know that she services downtown Houston, and B, that she's actively out showing homes. So just showing that you're active, showing that you're busy. It doesn't have to be something that you sit and you spend an hour thinking about, what am I going to say? It can be something quick and easy, even just you up late working on your computer, writing an offer tonight. If you need comps on a property, if you saw a home that you love, just send me a message. I'd be happy to run numbers for you as well. Just something super easy and quick. If you don't like to create graphics, so I love creating graphics. Canva is like my best friend. But if you don't like that, you can actually go on to Etsy, or you can just Google free real estate templates, and you can actually download a whole bunch of graphics that are already pre-made, that you don't have to worry about creating a graphic, that you can just share on your Facebook page. So it's really as easy as that if you want it to be. Doesn't have to take a long time. We actually used to, before we got as busy as we were, the last day of the month, we would kind of make a calendar and kind of try to plan out the next month. Just, okay, we want to post about one inspirational thing, one thing about the market, and one thing about our community every week, and try to like block those out. If you have time to do that and just kind of save them all in a note on your phone so you can just grab them and go, then that's great. If you have some downtime, otherwise just show up, period.
Okay, I love that. And I think social media has become such a big thing that everybody's attracted, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, it's be present. I hear you loud and clear there. And it's so much value when I think about, sort of, hey, contact me regarding a price analysis or what your home is worth. I look back in my days in the tech world and I think about Zillow, right? And Zillow built a business, a fortune around what is your home worth, is the old Zestimate, I call it. Yeah. It was wrong for many years. So the reality is people are hungry, especially in this market, to really know what their home is worth, right? Mm-hmm. We're seeing the skyrocketing prices in all 3 markets in Texas. And to me, I think this is a great opportunity for you to even land that and say, hey, we're either short on inventory, we're showing homes, we got multiple buyers, or hey, just contact me if you really want to know what your home is worth, or how much appreciation you've had in your asset here over the last X months, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
TJ, what about anything to add on the social
Yes.
side?
Absolutely. So I think one of the things that I learned from Jess was not just about like posting and like sharing like information, but being taking it to the next level, being super intentional with knowing what's actually working. So making every link that you send a Bitly link, which also is like customizable. And then you can go back and look through all your Bitly links and see what's actually working. Like, okay, well, wow, this specific thing that I shared got way more engagement, clicks, whatever, than this other thing I posted. So I need to do more of this. And
Mhm.
that helps you save time in the future because obviously you're learning how to do it better and better each time you make a post on your social media. So that's one of the biggest things. We always post with Bitly links to kind of track everything we're doing.
I like
Um,
that. You know, you always say you can't manage what you can't measure, right? And if you can measure it, you really can
exactly.
adapt and guide on what works and what doesn't work,
Right.
especially in
And
the social media posting world. All
the
right, well,
other
let's.
thing, sorry, can I add one more thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
The other thing I wanted to say was you need to learn how to train people like your viewers to come to you rather than the opposite. So, one of the things that I particularly do is I always, every month, like I'll post something in my neighborhood Facebook group that's a graphic that shows the value of all the homes. And I tell them how many homes have sold, what's pending right now, and how many actives we have in the neighborhood. And I make sure that it's a graphic and it's visual so that they can easily share it, like save the picture and text it to like their neighbors or whatever. And then I always put like, hey, like, I've been approached by multiple people who are looking to buy in this neighborhood. If you're thinking of selling, let me know. And I'll have people seriously sending me messages saying like, hey, I saw so and so moving their parents' furniture out. They're going to move them out of state. Like, you might want to go talk to them. And they all like message me, hey, I saw X and X. And I'm just like, wow, I got all these people now working for me, which saves me time.
Awesome, awesome. I will tell you, I saw a video the other day that was kind of interesting. This young rookie was out there on a for sale by owner sign, and he was actually doing a live video of standing outside the property, talking about the property itself, and trying to. And of course, he knew who the homeowner was because he stalked him. He figured out the address and stuff, and chased them on social media and posted it. So he said, you know what? I got their attention, and they contacted me saying, okay, let's talk about listing our house. So it's kind of it's only for the brave souls, I say, but it was definitely a creative way to get a FISBO to respond to an inquiry. And he loved the idea that this person was, hey man, he's going out of his way to market my property on social media.
Mhm.
So just real quick, Jess, because of for those, Bitly sounds like, for those that don't know, Bitly, you want to talk a little bit about where somebody could know about Bitly, because there's a lot of people don't know what a Bitly is.
Yeah. So Bitly, in the sense is it's a link shortener. So for instance, when we share a list of homes from HAR, we started doing this recently because we saw that we actually got a lot of people on it. So if you go to HAR and somebody is posting and you already see that there's like 100 people who have responded to this one person looking for something specific, we'll go on to HAR, we'll type in the information real quick, see what it kind of spits out, maybe pick like 5 of those, and we'll share a link which adds all of our information to it, and we'll create a Bitly link for it. So instead of you seeing har.com / all of this gibberish letters, you just see bit.ly / like 4-bedroom homes, Houston pool.
Okay.
And so when people click on that, then it takes them directly to the link like it would have the other way. But now we can see how many people clicked on it, what times they clicked on it, what regions of the country and the world they were from. So that gives us some extra data too, because now we can see, okay, even though only 2 people messaged us, 102 people clicked on the link. So then that tells us too, okay, we need a better call to action to get people to reach out to us or contact us after they click on the link. So it just gives you way more data and analytics so you can kind of problem solve and see what's working and how to convert better as well.
Yeah, great, great. Thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of people want to know a little bit more about Bitly, but also the fact of call to action, right? Call to action is an important thing in all the messaging. I've, having spent a lot of years in this business, I always feel like it's like asking for the sale. You've got to have a call to action on some of your marketing in order to get people interested or responding or taking some sort of measure to communicate with you. All right, we'll shift gears really quick to, in this market, right? So many of you really came into real estate during the pandemic, so to speak, right? You kicked it up in a notch in the pandemic. How are you dealing with this world of shortage of inventory and going out to get listings, more importantly, in today's market, and maybe even buyers? So Jennifer, start with you. What are you doing today differently that is allowing you to basically go out and capture additional listings and perhaps some buyers in your world?
I actually work with Zillow. So all my leads come in through Zillow. But that doesn't mean that, Zillow sells the house. So I like to think that it's, my wit, charm, and personality that actually gets the deal done. But quite honestly, I'm just staying educated with the market, talking to, some lenders, making sure that I keep up with what's going on so that I can inform them, because most of them, that have not purchased a home ever or have not purchased a home in a while, their mindset is, oh, we can negotiate. We can come in and ask for, less and offer, less and or ask for more and offer less. And it's just not like that. So, educating them and also, keeping myself positive, because working with all the buyers that I work with, they get frustrated and they just want to give up and they want to quit and, offer after offer. But, I let them know that, we are maximizing everything we can from their end and, through the way that we make that offer and present the offer. But unfortunately, we don't live right now in the current market in a time where we can negotiate and say, hey, I know you have it listed for 300, but we want to offer 275 in hopes that they come back at 280. So like I said, just staying positive for them, and making sure that they understand what's going on and understand the whole offer process and why it is that we do what we do, explaining everything, because some of them have purchased homes but they don't understand what an option period is and all of the details as far as how that works and the whole addendum for the appraisal. That has been a huge new thing to bring up to people and bringing in extra money. And it's like, wait a minute, extra money, I'm giving you all the money that I have on this down payment. So, it's a lot of educating and taking the time and, which is why I try my hardest to, when I have extra time, to fit in all of those little, Zoom classes and meetings on, how to. And every time it's funny because it might be the same thing, but every time I seem to pick up something different and new because it's a different speaker.
And Jennifer, you're a big user of Clients for Life, right? I mean,
Yes.
so can you share with us some of the things you've done, or perhaps, the leads you might have generated as a result of using the CFL program?
I'm sorry, ask that question again.
As far you're a big user of Clients for Life, I noticed that, right? I mean, you
Yes.
do that quite often. How has that changed, or can you share with us sort of the how you're using that Clients for Life, and have you gotten any sort of lead generation a result of that in communication with your clients?
You know what? I just started using it because I had an awesome meeting with Laura Kovach, I think is how you say her name. And I took advantage of some one-on-one time. So she's actually, I haven't been in it and engaged enough. So I'm gonna just be honest.
Okay, good.
But what I loved is the fact that she did help me get all of my contacts set up in there. And, I have spoken to some of them to make sure that they knew, because they've contacted me. They're like, what is this? What did you sign me up for? And we've been able to talk about it. And it's like, don't forget, you got to fill it out. And it doesn't mean you're buying a house, another house. It just means that, you've got this awesome chance to win and you can forward it on to anybody you know. And, so it's been new to me, but it actually has been a great conversation starter. And then also I've, see that people are sharing and forwarding. And so adding them to the list.
Yeah, perfect. So I saw that in your profile. That's why I asked, right? So,
Yeah.
and like I said, I don't, some of these questions are unrehearsed, so I appreciate the
Yeah.
honesty. And I saw that you use them. You're a big user of Clients for Life. You got a lot of people in the database. So
Yes.
sounds like Jess. What about you? I mean, in this market, what are you doing differently to derive, or I know being big on social media. How are you working on basically trying to garner some listings as well as buyers?
Yeah. So TJ and I, most of our clients happen to be buyers. That's just who's kind of attracted to us because TJ is a first time home buyer specialist. And I have a background, I went to school for teaching. So we're just naturally like, come on, let's help you. Let's help you. So most of our clients have been buyers throughout this. So one of the things that we had to do, we had to really get creative. So the first thing we did was really strengthen all of our relationships with builders. So we're the first people to know when new homes are coming available, when homes are dropping out of contract, so our clients can swoop in and grab them. And we have ins with to get like direct contact information. So for instance, if we have a client who's looking in Conroe and they're looking at a specific builder, then we know if we don't have somebody in that specific builder that we can reach out to somebody who's also with that builder in a different city or a different area, and we can get that direct contact versus calling and waiting for the customer service line to finally call you back 4 days later. By that point, the home is gone. If you try to show up, they tell you to leave because you don't have an appointment. So I think that's definitely what we've done. We've just strengthened all those relationships. So we've gotten a lot of people who just got burnt out and they didn't want to have to pour all this extra money in by waiving their appraisal. We're like, hey, you can just get a new home and then you don't have to worry about that. And a lot of the builders are helping with closing costs. So it's really a win-win for them. And then something TJ and I always do as well. We're not afraid of putting up our sleeves and like actually doing hard work. So we're digging through the terminateds, withdrawn listings to try to get our buyers into homes that have been taken off the market and possibly even a listing for us if our buyers aren't interested. So we've just kind of been working extra hard, which can be exhausting and tiring, but those buyers are so appreciative because they know how tough it is right now.
I love that idea of being able to go, and since you have the buyers, to be able to procure the sellers, right? Especially on the withdrawns and expireds. And some of these folks, they might have put their house on the market months and months ago and then expired or terminated. And they don't realize that the value of their home has gone up significantly over the last several months. So I think the fact that you have a true viable buyer or potential buyer and reaching out to those folks is very strategic. So I love that approach. I think it's very creative. What about you, TJ? Anything to add to that?
Yeah. So I think everything Jess said, obviously, and just kind of streamlining our process with buyers a little bit to work a little bit more efficiently. And what's nice about us is that we work together with all of our clients, which I know people probably may initially think that that's something that they might not want to do because you're splitting your commission and you're not earning as much, but it's actually helped our business grow extremely rapidly. And it does allow us to kind of divide and conquer. So if we have 2 buyers that need to shop, we can, go our separate ways for that day or whatever. And it's a value proposition that we give to our buyers too, because there's 2 of us. So it's like, we tell them you get twice the fun, twice the availability, for the same, experience. So it's been great for them as far as buyers go. And then for listings, one of the things that I think is important for listings. So when we do go to our listing presentations, one of the things that we do is obviously set ourselves apart. And we'll even ask them hey, do you know any of your neighbors that are also considering selling, to kind of put that plug in their ear, especially if they believe we do well, which we kill it, listing presentations. We're consistently told that we have more to offer than anybody they've ever talked to, which is obviously like what you want to hear when you go to a listing presentation. But one of the other things that we show people, no matter what their home looks like, is the Revitalize opportunity. Like that is like a big deal. And I don't think enough agents are catching on to that. So no matter what their house looks like, we make sure we include a Revitalize flyer. That way, if they're talking to their neighbor who wants to sell, but their house needs a little bit more work, they can be like, well, these agents told me that, they can, help get our home renovated without upfront cost. And they're like, what? Like, that's so cool. That's so exciting. And they're like literally telling everybody they know about it because of that. So it's that. And then I know that we've been kind of tweaking our like ads and stuff like that to direct people to our website. And we've actually been getting listings from our website now because of that. So that's been really great for us.
So I'll end, I'll break up on two questions before we take questions from the audience. As one, in this world of client reviews that we live in, right? Everything, whether it's Amazon, whether it's Open Table or any of these other things where you go in and we're so accustomed to people's feedback and reviews. A Yelp. How do you handle it? I think that this probably is a TJ question as well as Jess in social media, any of you. How are you handling getting those reviews from your clients, and what's sort of the best practice that you can share with us on, or recommendation for folks to get reviews from their clients, after you service their needs?
Yeah,
so I'm probably going to let Jess take that.
Yeah, I got it. So we use a system called Arivala. And what that does is that it allows us to almost have like a landing page where everybody is directed to. So we can either send them a direct link or we can have it text it to them and email it to them, and it'll send reminders like every few days, then a week, then 2 weeks later if they haven't filled it out yet. And the cool part about that is that it encourages you to copy your review and paste it on Google, paste it on Facebook. It has all the links there, realtor.com, Zillow, everything. So they can just copy and click on all the different links and paste it all across all of our different platforms. So that has been huge because the more reviews you have, especially on Google, that boosts you up in the search. So if people can see Jess Dom and TJ Diaz across multiple different platforms when they Google, then that just makes us show up everywhere. And again, that's called Arivala. So it's like arrival with an A on the end of it.
Excellent. Great advice. Thank you. Because I think a lot of people struggle with that on being able to get client reviews and what's the easiest format to shamelessly ask for it, right?
Yeah.
How is my need? How is my service? And then the other thing is, once I get it, what do I do with it? And I think this is a great segue into how how they can utilize that, and the messaging that goes along with it is, hey, if you appreciate the great service that I've provided you, can you please give me a review? What about pictures with clients? Post closing, maybe with the yard sign, with anything else? Any of you guys doing anything fancy like that?
Yes.
All right,
We love pictures.
Good.
We love pictures. I mean, we take a picture of just our clients in front of the home, and then we also take pictures with them. And so something that we do, we've kind of fallen off on doing it as much as we should, but we send them a card. It's called send out cards. So you can actually custom create a card. And so we make the front of it a picture of just them or a picture of us and do like a cute little thing. So we can send that for their year anniversary. Just like a cute like little reminder to kind of pop in and say, hey, just wanted to see how you guys are doing since you've been in the house for a week. So anytime we can kind of get pictures and also have them tag us on social media, we always say, oh, we'd love it if you can tag us in that picture. And then they feel obligated to say something about us too, which is also nice. So
that's great.
Shameless.
How about Jennifer? What about you? Are you doing anything differently in the reviews or sort of follow up?
You know what, as far as follow-up, I do scheduled pop-bys. I want to make sure that they're home. I take them a little gift, kind of like 4 different times throughout the year, around the fall, I took like a little potted mom and then took a picture of them in front of the house. And I let them know so that I didn't get told, no, I'm not picture ready. You can't take a picture of me, because I know women are like that. So, but I also send out handwritten note cards and, mail them and get little cute stamps to make sure that it's all a cute little presentation. Thank you. Hi. When I won Rookie of the Year, all of the clients that I had that helped me to get there, I thanked them, send them a little, gift card, and then just, random get-togethers. I have been invited to dinner by several different clients. So making sure that I fit, in my schedule, that I can go meet with them for lunch, for dinner, for coffee. And of course, I love the Clients for Life program because I can talk to them about that.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, look, thank you. Thank you all. I'm going to open the floor. Thank you for your time today and your insight. You guys are just starting the sort of the height of getting the momentum going in your career. You've hit the floor running. You really have done a great job in your first year, 2 years of real estate. And I can't wait to see what you're going to get accomplished at the end of this year as well as next year. So I'm going to hand the mic back to Jennifer, Misha, and see if we can get some questions from the floor, and then we'll go from there.
I want to just say one thing, Charles. My time has not been 2 years. I will have been with Coldwell Banker for 1 year, June 1st. So I just want to let you know that I have not, I would like to have been, see where I'm at next year, but I'm 1 year.
No, you are the Rookie of the Year, girl. So that's that definitely phenomenal start to your career, and thank you for choosing. I know in real estate you all have choices, so thank you for choosing Coldwell Banker as your partner. So Alex, you got a question?
I do. If you girls were to go back to your very first day in business and give yourself a piece of advice now, having been in it for a couple of years, what would you tell yourself to the new girl getting into the business?
Gosh,
Oh,
I have
goodness.
so much I could add to that. So ask for what you want, believe in what you can do, and like be ready to receive those blessings, basically. Don't and this is like for anybody that's like listening that isn't with Coldwell Banker, don't allow yourself to be led by people who don't believe in you. That's huge. Management is so important, and you want to make sure you have people behind you that believe in you and support you and like encourage you to do, to accomplish your goals. Trust your instincts. Establish your brand from the very beginning when you join your brokerage. Like your brokerage is awesome and great and everything, but you also want to have your own brand as well, so that it helps you stand out from your competition. Let's see, there was something, this is not a hobby career. If you want to make 6 figures, you can't just do it on the weekends. Like it's going to be a lot of work, but if you set those goals and you put the effort in, then you're going to get there. And then if you are trying to choose a brokerage, don't just focus on what your brokerage has for you, but focus on what your brokerage has for your clients, because that's the whole reason we're in this business, right? Is to help people and to help them achieve their goals. And that's one of the reasons why Jess and I are like diehard Coldwell Banker people. It's because they have the most things to help our buyers and our sellers. Like no other brokerage offers everything that Coldwell Banker does. So you could reach out to me if you want more information, because I believe in it.
And by the way, Jennifer Zeminski, you'd be here. Come on, you got to come on, man. You guys got to see who's sitting next to me. He's got some advice too. So this is there's like 50 people on or something. So this is Brent, Germany, top. Well, he found out yesterday he's number 25 in the country in Coldwell Banker top teams. So Brent, if you can go back to when you first got started in the business.
Yeah, can I give you a quick little story?
Sure.
So my wife was my girlfriend at the time, and Jennifer, you've met her.
Love her.
Yes, me too. But she worked I was in computer science. I was a web developer. So I was not in sales at all. And so we went and I got my license. I started generating my first leads. And because computer stuff was just easy for me. And she was sitting next to me, and her job was she worked for the University of Phoenix, actually, and she managed a sales team. And all she did every day was listen to phone calls and role play and give critiques and feedback. And I said, I've got to go make these calls. I've never made a sales call in my life. And I was scared to death. And she said, do you want me to come sit next to you and listen? And I said, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? And so I was like, you stay in the front of the house. I'm going to shut every door between that and the back of the house. I'm going to soundproof everything. And then I'm going to make calls. And I came out 30 minutes later, like drenched in sweat. And she's like, are you okay? How did that go? And I was like, that was like terrifying. That was awful. And so to answer his question, push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Do the things that make you uncomfortable. Because as my wife told me on that day, she said, it is a muscle you have to exercise. And if you don't do that on a daily basis, you're not gonna get better. And look at me now, I don't shut up.
Yes,
That's
And
awesome.
Jennifer, what would you go back and tell yourself?
To just follow my gut. I mean, when I had interviewed with several different offices before finding Coldwell Banker, and I tell the same thing to my clients, which I actually learned when I had my business, and that was, if you have to sell yourself on it, then don't do it. You cannot sell yourself on something and it be the right decision. You have to go with how it feels when you walk into the house. Even if there's, like purple and green paint everywhere, if that's your house, it's just, and the same thing for me. It's like, I know when I walked into Coldwell Banker and I sat down with Sue Barrett, she walked me through everything. And I just was like astonished at everything that Coldwell Banker had to offer. And, for me, it's like $148, for a month of everything that I get. I mean, to try and piecemeal all that together and manage all of those accounts, it would be just insane. Like, I don't have time for that. And I knew right then, and quite honestly, they both Debbie and Sue have been one of the top reasons that I have stayed with Coldwell Banker throughout, all of the emails and phone calls and everything that I've gotten after becoming Rookie of the Year. They're like my family. So I now not only have, all of the tools and all of the Coldwell Banker, behind me, but it's like, that's where I belong, because I can ask and go to them with anything. And you too, Alex.
I hope so.
Yeah, no, totally you too. But they're like I said, they have been fantastic.
Well, you girls did great. I know there's more questions. I'm going to turn my camera off and my mic off, but you crushed it today.
Brent, by the way, I was always told, push yourself outside your box. That story gives me a great thing. The famous line my coach used to tell me is, Charles, there is no growth without discomfort. So get ready to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
I was at a real estate conference just this past week in Arizona, and some things happened. I had my assistant quit on me while I was gone. No notice, nothing. And it really just put me in the weeds. And just, there was a little bit more to that story that we have to get into. But I talked to one of the real estate coaches there, and he said, Brent, you're growing. He goes, this is a good news. This means you're growing. And we had our team meeting yesterday, and a lot of our team members says they've been getting calls from other brokerages and other teams. And I said, guys, we've got targets on our back. It's like, that's good. We want targets on our back. They know who we are. They know our name. Bring it on. So
I just had that talk with Terry at the same time. I told Terry, I'm like, if you're not being targeted, you ain't doing something right.
There's a lot of terrorists out there.
right. and speaking of teams, thanks, Alex. Thanks, Brent. Speaking of teams, folks, for those of you still on, we are going to have a team session here in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned to that. It's going to be very, very exciting. We're going to have the best practices, how to grow your team, how to build your team, what you do with your team, and so forth. So, Amisha, I'm going to hand the floor back to you to see if we have any questions from the floor.
You're muted.
All right, absolutely. So it looks like we had just a couple of questions for you ladies. It looks like a couple of them were answered, but one person said, what is the name of that book that you were talking about regarding mindset? And
Oh, was that the one that I had mentioned to Charles? It's called The Miracle Morning for Realtors, and it's by Hal Elrod. So it's amazing. I love it. I mean, I've listened to it twice already. I do Audible because I can listen to it in the car while I'm driving, and I highly recommend it.
fantastic. And then I saw that Jess put the name of the testimonial reviews website in there. Then we had another question that says, how much effort do you put in making sure that your reviews are 4-star or 5-star? Basically, you know, or do you not even worry about, you know, what folks are going to say about you once you ask them to review? And then also, what are the best platforms for reviews? As far as like, are you getting on Zillow or Google or HAR?
So I can kind of answer this a little bit for us. So we don't really worry so much about whether somebody's going to give us a 4 or 5-star review. We know that we go above and beyond, that we pour our heart and soul into every transaction. So we don't worry about that so much. The cool thing about Arivala is that it will only encourage people to share to other platforms if they leave a 5-star review. So if they leave a 1 through 4-star review, it won't say, hey, do you want to share this to Google, Realtor.com, Zillow? It only does it if it's a 5-star review. So if you're worried about that, then that's kind of a cool thing. That way you can kind of copy and add that to your website if you wanted a 4-star review, but that's kind of a cool part for that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for that. Good feedback. We did have, because some of you were mentioning, you know, the tools, and I think TJ was like, you know, focus on the tools that they have for your customers. Brandy wrote in the chat, she said, I absolutely loved my previous company. And I mean, I loved it, but because of all the tools, I pushed over to Coldwell Banker, and I am not looking back. I quit my teaching job and dove right in. So thanks for that. This is also the last question here to Jess and TJ. How do you leverage Revitalize to get listings? I remember TJ mentioned Revitalize and taking that flyer on every listing presentation. So just a little bit more on how you're leveraging Revitalize in your listings.
So we basically, like, no matter what the house looks like, I mean, of course, we ask them some of those questions like during our pre-listing interview before we ever go to the home. You know, if you had to stay in this house, what are things that you would update or change? Or if you're looking at your house from a buyer's eyes, what do you feel like are some of the things that they would point out? And that kind of gives us an idea if, you know, there may be something that's needed for the home. But regardless, it doesn't matter. No matter if that is a brand new home, nothing, like, you take that Revitalize information sheet. And Christina, if you email me, because you're at my office, I can send you what we use, because we kind of had to dig for it to find that flyer specifically. But anyways, we take that and we put that in the presentation, and we basically tell them, like, okay, you can do this, because, you know, it allows for landscaping, staging. I mean, like, literally everything that you could possibly need, except for roofs. They don't do roofs.
Yep.
But you know, when you lay all that out to them when we're going through the presentation, we make sure to say, hey, you know, we know your home is in great shape, and you may not need any of these things, but if you do know somebody that needs or wants to sell, this is exactly what we offer, basically.
Yeah, and it's a good way too for us to add that extra value, because if we know, okay, you can get X amount of dollars for your house if you do nothing to it. This is how much we estimate that you guys will have to put in to update, and then you can make X amount more dollars. Especially with this market, that's just kind of being conservative, how much more they could make. Then there's how much people are going to offer over. So it just gives them kind of more security and in going with us, because nobody else offers that. And we are actually starting to run Facebook ads for that as well, doing before and afters, because everybody loves a good before and after. So We take
Yeah.
videos throughout the process and that fun TikTok transition where you snap your fingers and all of a sudden it's pretty, because we also stage the homes as well. So just kind of leveraging what you're good at, what you like to do, and make sure that you document throughout the process. So that way you can show other people and it'll catch like wildfire.
Right. And Brandy mentioned too, in the chat, just one thing to add to that, that during option period, if there's repairs and stuff that's needed after inspections, you can actually use the Revitalize program to get those items completed. So it's just all in all, like a great thing to offer your sellers.
Jess, you mentioned TikTok, and I will tell you, one of my goals is to have another session just on TikTok, because there's a lot of people that have no idea how to use TikTok in real estate and how we can make it fun, how we can engage those millennials. So stay tuned. We might be reaching out again.
It sounds good. We're not the best at it, but I love watching them.
I
and
love
I
the
love
click your
ideas.
fingers
Yeah.
and give me a better look. You know?
Oh, it's good. I'll have to show you once I finish that one, because it's gonna be fire.
Well, I think that's it for our questions. In the interest of time, we've gone over, but thank you so much for spending your morning with us. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your insight, and best of luck this year. Keep the momentum going, and I can't wait to see how you close out the year. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Much gratitude to all of you. So have a great
Thanks
day.
for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.